Hi friends, and welcome to the next video. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching, who's been contributing with great comments. The channel is growing and I am really dedicated to make this channel something special for musicians, anybody who's interested in music. And I really want to thank everyone for their contributions. We have now been monetized and we have super thanks, and you can join the channel as a member. There's going to be things available only for members and stuff like that. So it's going to be really great. And again, thank everyone for watching and contributing in any way you can. Okay, that said, this video is going to be about something very important and something that's been kind of a mystery for a while now. And that is, what is groove? What is groove? A lot of times I hear these crazy explanations from people, and well, here's my imitation of most musicians trying to explain what groove is. Yeah, man, when you like playing and that's like feeling good, and you're playing and it's like cool, and you feel good, and the people are like digging it. And then you're like playing, and you're playing real nice, and you're playing, and you got this feeling, and yeah, man, you know what I mean? What the hell? Why is it so hard to verbalize what groove is? It's because most people have not been put under teaching situations where they have to deliver on material, okay? If you're like me, I've taught at many universities and hundreds and hundreds of clinics around the world. People ask you, what is groove? Especially cats that don't know, English, that are not from the States. That this weird, word that implies so many things, and they look it up on the net. What is groove? What is groovy? They have a hard time understanding how to conceptualize and put it into music. Okay, so anyway, the word groove, first of all, apparently, back in the jazz era, when LPs, were around, well, if you don't know what an LP is, for God's sake, man, go find out what a record was, what a record player, okay, is. I know most of you probably know, but for Pete's sake, you have to know what an LP is. All right. So a record back in the days was recorded live in the studio. You put the needle down and you started recording. So the musicians in those days used to say, yeah, man, groovy. You're in the groove. That means you're in the groove of the record. Okay, now, groove. How many grooves does a record have? How many grooves? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. It has one groove. It starts from the outer edge and goes all the way around into the center of the disc. Or if you play it backwards, it goes outwards. All right. That's a groove. A groove is like a line, a through line, a line in wood and carpentry. You also have this term groove. It's something you construct to put another piece of wood into. It's like a line, a groove. So something you insert something into, like a V. If you have like a V that you carve into a piece of wood and you insert something else into it, that's a groove. This V is a groove that you use it to insert other pieces of wood into, okay? Even if you notice that, like the natural lines of wood, those can be considered to be grooves, etc. Now, the term groovy, all right, got morphed from the jazz idiom, apparently. I can't say 100% for sure, and it's more anecdotal at this point, just to help us understand, what the word means, okay? So groovy, groove, you're in the groove, meant you're in the whole record. You play the record perfect till the end. You're in the groove, and there's no need to do it again or whatever. You didn't ruin the LP, okay? This beautiful performance, this perfect performance, meant you're in the grooves of the LP. Okay? That's a very interesting way to think about it now. Okay? So, apparently in the 50s, the 60s, the word took on different meaning. It started to mean cool, like really great, like I feel good. How are you feeling? Groovy, man. I'm not going to embarrass myself and put a wig on and do a little skit about the 70s. Groovy meant I'm feeling, it's like the words we use now, awesome, rad. I don't know about now, but I use those words to this day. I use them all. Okay? If English is your second language, many people here on my channel are not from the States, this is the meaning of this word, groovy, okay? Now, it all kind of got mashed together. The jazz sense, the sense of music, feeling good. Then it went into society, I'm feeling good. In carpentry, we also have this word, okay? A line, like a line. If you're walking down the street, you see a sidewalk, right? There's many lines in the sidewalk. Those are grooves. It also is when you, like, say, your daily habits, okay? You wake up, you have a cup of coffee, you read the paper, or you go to your computer, and then you go to work, whatever. That is a groove, a daily groove that you do, something, a habit, okay? But so what does all this mean? Groove is a concept, okay? Groove is a concept, a through line, all right? Remember all the things we talked about. Groove is like a through line, a through line. It's not a beat. It's not playing time. It's not one style of music. There's grooves in every style of music, and there's endless amounts of grooves, okay? One thing you have to realize, like right off the bat, is you're not the master of groove. No one is the master of groove. It's impossible to be the master of groove. You can be a specialist in a certain genre, okay? You can be a specialist. But it doesn't mean you're the master. The word master means you know everything about everything. You've dominated the art form. There's no such thing in drumming, okay? In New York, we have a saying, and it's no one is the king in New York, okay? There's just too many great players all over the place. You could be sitting in the subway, and right next to you is like amazing genius violinist that you've never heard of from some other country or whatever. And, you're not the king in New York. No one is the king, all right? It's the same in drumming, in music. You cannot be the master of groove, okay? Why? Do you know how to play Balkan music? Do you know how to play music from India? Do you know what Tamil music is? You probably never even heard of it, okay? Do you know how to play music from South America, Brazil? You know what chacarera is? You know what Zembekiko is from Greece? There's all these things have very particular grooves, all right? And if you're a specialist at one thing, let's say the funk thing, okay? If you play funk and you try to put that into Brazilian music, it's not gonna work. Brazilian music has this hump. It's the same thing with rumba and Afro-Cuban music. Or, it has this hump. It's a mass amount of vocabulary all put together, and that's what creates the groove, this moving, alive thing, right? Many people think groove is playing time really precisely. That's not groove. That's another issue, playing time precisely, all right? Now, let me explain something to you. There's a real famous drummer that I heard online that he was trying to explain groove, and he says, well, I put the bass drum on the one, like really metronomically precisely on one, and then the hi-hat, I like move it around, I do accents, and then on the snare drum, I'll do 2 and 4, but slightly behind, a millisecond behind the metronome. And then he plays it, right? Okay, feels great. And then 5 minutes later, he's talking about something, punk rock, okay? He's talking about punk rock. Like in punk rock, you keep the hi-hat really like this, and then the punk rock groove is like this. And say, wait a minute. I thought you said groove was something else a minute ago. And he said, it doesn't groove if you do it like this. And what he did was basically do that example in the punk rock example. All right, so what that tells me is people don't have an idea. They don't have no idea how to explain groove, okay? They'll take random examples and put them in whatever succession they want, and they don't take responsibility for what they're saying. A lot of players haven't had the obligation to define things because they haven't been in teaching situations which demands that they have a commitment to what they say, and they can verbalize it clearly and with precision so that a guy that's paying a lot of money to go to university can understand what it is. You know, there's nothing worse than giving some nebulous explanation and then the guy's like more confused than what he started with. You know, when I was in school, that happened a lot, especially in Afro-Cuban styles. If you want to learn Afro-Cuban, there's a lot of this nebulous thing, you know, where anyway, you have to be associated with the right cats, all right, if you want to learn properly. So, that being said, every music has its own groove. If you try to put a jazz feel into, let's say, cumbia or sirto or calypso, whatever, it doesn't work, okay? Try to put a sirto groove into samba, it doesn't work. All right, there's so many styles in Brazil, you know, I'm just using samba as one example, but all these things have their own particular groove. Like Bruce Lee says, you're not the master until you die. When you die, then you are the master, okay? So just get used to it. There's no more beautiful feeling in drumming or in anything, I think, than feeling like a baby and starting from nothing when you're trying to learn, okay, a new piece of music or some new music from another part of the world. You're like a baby because you have to, you know, you have to understand the vocabulary of that genre. You have to understand how the music feels, okay, how the drum set operates in different styles. And it's just like you're starting again. It's an awesome feeling. And you have to get used to that. You have to humble yourself in front of the instrument, okay? Because groove is a very, very profound thing. It's not like you could play one style and you groove in every style. I've seen guys step all over themselves trying to play, you know, whatever, like for example, Brazilian music, which is has this incredible groove that's very specialized. And they play jazz. Okay, that's like the worst thing. You take a jazz player, try to get him to play Brazilian, or funk player, try to get him to play Afro-Cuban or cumbia, whatever. You know, these styles have this incredible hump. It's not a steady thing, okay? You have to humble yourself in front of the instrument and in front of music. All right. You know, there's one other thing I just want to say. A lot of people try to tell you about micro timing and use fancy words to explain how you can get groove, and you work with a metronome. Man, in some cultures, you give somebody a metronome, you know, and they'll say, "Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, nice." And they'll take it and put some flowers in it and put it on their windowsill, and they'll say, "Okay, come on, let's play now." And on the metronome, it's like, okay, that's not grooving, all right? The metronome is for building muscle memory at different tempos, at certain tempos. That's what the metronome is good for. It doesn't create groove, all right? So that needs to be said. Okay, so how do you deal with this as a professional musician? There is a way, there's a very efficient way, and that is through the study of rhythm. Rhythm will give you an apparatus so that you can quickly absorb grooves in a profound way. Now, why is that? Let's say, take language as an example, okay? If you know 10 words in English and you go to Bulgaria, what the heck? You're not going to understand nothing. If you go to China, you're not going to understand nothing, all right? Let's say you speak fluent English, incredibly fluent. If you go to another country where they don't speak English, you're going to be lost, okay? I personally, I love that. I've been to many countries where I don't understand the language and it's like, it's crazy, you know. Wow, man. I love that feeling, actually, okay? But it's the same thing in music. Now, what rhythm does is that your understanding of rhythm creates this rhythmic grid in your body, okay? And through this grid, you're going to be able to understand the rhythmic, let's say, values, okay? But it's not values, the rhythmic qualities that all this different types of music has, all right? The rhythmic qualities can be absorbed if your grid is deep and strong. For that, you need to create this grid, you have to understand what rhythm is. Rhythm is not 16th notes, 32nd notes, 8th notes, quarter notes. That's subdivisions, okay? Those are subdivisions in binary language. Binary language, all right? In India, they don't even have, like, there's no chords in the music, for example, all right? There's no 16th notes. When they learn, you know, there's no 16th notes. They use a different type of writing to learn conical, okay? You have to get out of this Western mindset. You have to understand how rhythm works in your body. Now, what is rhythm? Cycles. Rhythmic cycles is what rhythm is. 1 bar cycle, 2 bar cycle, 3 bar cycle, 4, 5, 7, 9. All these cycles are going to build your rhythmic grid in a very, very deep way, okay? Like I said, if you only study subdivisions in binary language, the metronome, you're basically nowhere, okay? That's basically nowheresville. All right, sorry to say. But, you know, that's why you have to have good people around you when you're doing this drumming thing. It's so profound and deep. The rhythmic grid you create is like a language that you can adapt into different styles quickly and proficiently. If you've seen, I have a video about this, you can watch here on the channel. It's called Time Interaction, how time interacts with your body, okay? Now that's something else that you have to realize to be able to train yourself into rhythm properly. Time is not the same as groove. Beats are not groove, okay? Groove is this other thing I'm talking about. Your ability to maintain a central idea, project it, and use your musical knowledge to accomplish the vocabulary, the feel of the music in different genres, okay? It's not keeping a steady beat with a metronome, all right? Let's get that out of the way right now. That needs to end. I have a lot to say about this issue, and if I could go on for like an hour, and I could give many examples, you know, perhaps in a further video, that's what I'm gonna talk about. But that's really like, wow, that's a huge study, you know, a huge study. If you go on my lesson site, you're gonna see a lot of this material there. You know, if I put it out on YouTube, it's gonna be like a bunch of videos, man. It's just go to my website, become a member, and learn properly, okay? There's no doubt about it that you need the right people on your side, you know. It's just, like I said before in another video also, it's just to have a mentor, you know, to have a guide is something that traditionally in drumming was very, very normal. It's like an apprenticeship, you know. We've lost that apprenticeship type thing. And that is reflected on why there's so much confusion now, okay? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and perhaps I'll get deeper into it. In the meantime, you can check out my channel here. There's a playlist and you can see all the lessons and previews and stuff like that. I talk about time interaction and how to use your rhythmic knowledge to be able to groove in different styles. Okay, so man, thank you again for watching. I hope to see you soon, and I hope you enjoyed this. Become a member of the channel. Send super thanks. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.